The people may call their next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Edward Dixon.
Please step into the stand, sir. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please be seated. Please state your name for the record. Spell your first and last names.
First name is Edward, E-D-W-A-R-D. Last name Dixon, D-I-X-O-N.
Mr. Dixon, good morning.
Good morning.
Let me provide you with some instructions, which I give to every witness in every case. The first instruction is to please sit back and relax. The second instruction is to speak in a loud voice so all of us can hear you. The third instruction is to answer yes or no to a question rather than using a slang like And the last question is to wait until you hear an entire question before you even start to answer it. In our everyday lives, many of us are used to talking over each other, but it's important in a courtroom to hear only one person speaking at one time. Is that acceptable?
Yes.
Thank you. Direct, please. Ms. Brazil.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Dixon.
Good morning.
Please tell us where you are employed.
I'm employed at AT&T.
And what is AT&T?
AT&T is a telecommunications company.
What is your position with AT&T?
My current position is I'm a senior network cell support engineer for AT&T.
How long have you been employed by AT&T?
Since 1997.
Mr. Dixon, as part of your responsibilities at AT&T, are you familiar with the preparation of cell phone records?
Yes.
Have you testified in a court proceeding in the past concerning cell phone records?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a 73-page document. I'd ask that it be marked Article 51, please.
Collectively, P51.
Mr. Dixon, prior to testifying this morning, did you have an opportunity to review cell phone records related to cell phone number 702-862-0973?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon, are you familiar with that document as being AT&T cell phone records detailing call information and subscriber information for the telephone number that I read to you?
Yes.
And are the records that you reviewed in People's 51 records that AT&T regularly keeps in the course of their business functioning?
Yes.
And are the records in these cell phone documents, do they contain entries of cell phone usage, data usage related to services provided by AT&T, and are those entries created or recorded near the time of the telephone or data activities utilized by the customer?
Yes.
Who is the subscriber for the cell phone number 702-862-0973?
Conrad. Murray.
And Mr. Dixon, when was that account opened?
I have to take a look at my records.
Would that refresh your recollection?
Yes, ma'am.
Please take a look at the records, and would those be the cell phone records that I just described as being a 73-page document?
Yes.
And you brought a copy with you today?
Yes.
Please take a look at the records, and I'd like to know when the account was opened and the status of the account in June of 2009.
For my own clarification, I may have misheard. Is it 73 pages or 71?
I believe it's a 73-page document, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Service start date on the account is 1/28/2009.
What was the status of the account on June 25th, or the month of June in 2009? Active?
Active.
Mr. Dixon, I would like to direct your attention to an exhibit that I'm going to place on the projector, and it is page 21 of the exhibit previously marked as exhibit number 51. Your Honor, may I ask the court to dim the lights, please, to make visibility better?
Mrs. Benson, please.
Thank you. Mr. Dixon, did you have an opportunity to look specifically at page 21 of the cell phone records of Conrad Murray prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
Is there a way to expand it a little bit?
Is that better, Your Honor?
We're on our way. I think that's a lot better. You're just going to have to juggle around the page.
I will. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Dixon, are you able to see from your position there what is the far left-hand side of the top portion of People's 21, which is the page of billed usage for Conrad Murray's AT&T phone records beginning June 23rd, 2009, and then the bottom of the page continues with entries on June 25th, 2009. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
What I'd like to do is allow you to familiarize us with the information that's contained in these phone records. And I'd like to go across the top from left to right, and I'll move the exhibit over so that you and the jurors and the court and counsel can see what's on this particular exhibit. Would that be all right?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon, here in the far left-hand side, we see account number, and to the right of that, there's a multiple-digit number, and above that is the cell phone number of the subscriber, correct?
Yes.
I'd like to focus your attention now on the first first four columns of data where it starts with item, date, time, and number called. I would just like to focus on those, but I'm going to go up to we'll just focus on describe for us what the item means, date, time, and number called for purposes of the recordation of cell phone data.
Yes. As far as item information is identified with a numerical expression. Numerical expression represents as far as a stamp that we put on as far as record keeping. And the date, of course, is a date, and we have a month, a day, and a year. For time, we have a time stamp. And as indicated there, where the light is pointing, it's 4:59 p.m.
And what does that time in that column reflect?
That reflects Pacific Standard Time as far as location where the transaction was in place.
Where the call emanated or began from?
Yes.
And the next column, number called?
Number called identifies the number that's being called or their incoming call that's coming towards the device.
And the next column, calls to. What's reflected in this column?
Calls to information represents as far as where the customer could be placed in the call, or it could be information as the number's called. And it gives general information. For example, right there we see Houston, Texas. Numbers called is a particular number there based on what is called the MPA in excess number, as far as number called, and the call to Houston, Texas.
Moving on to the next 5 columns that are reflected on the screen, starting here with minutes used and working across, will you describe what each column means in terms of data and information?
Minutes used is actual minutes the customer used, and that number is rounded up
And that's
to the
this-
nearest whole.
I'm sorry, and that is this column here, we see 2, 2, 2, 3, correct?
Yes.